All right, so yesterday was the NBA's trade deadline, and a lot of moves happened. Moves that definitely changed the expectations for teams this season. I want to start off with one team in particular, a team who made a really big trade. As we all know, the Lakers. The Lakers traded for Luka, essentially shaking up the entire league. It was really unexpected, but the move, as good as it was, left the Lakers with a big problem to address, and that was a center because they gave up Anthony Davis in the move, as we all know, and that essentially left the Lakers without any really quality big men, and people are questioning, what are the Lakers going to do? Is the move going to be made? And here it is. The Lakers traded Dalton Connect, Cam Reddish, a 2031 first round pick, unprotected, and a 2030 pick swap to the Hornets for Mark Williams. This is a good move for the Lakers. Mark Williams is a good center. He has a lot of potential. He's actually younger than Dalton Connect, who they gave up here. And Mark Williams, as good as he is, has injury concern. He's barely played any games in his career. I know he spent time in the G League, but he has had a lot of injuries, like a back issue. He's had issues with his feet, and his injuries have taken him out for a long time in the past. But the potential's still there. I'm sure the Lakers are just banking on health for him. It can be seen as a risky move, but I feel like if everything breaks right for the Lakers, this goes really well. Mark Williams just is a great rebounder. He can score the ball to a degree. He's a great, great lob target for Luca, for LeBron as well, who two guys who are just incredible playmakers. Luca has played with guys that are good lob targets in the past. And this just really works really well. I've seen a lot of people saying on Twitter, specifically Hornets fans, that Mark Williams is not a good rim protector, and Lakers fans and the league in general, people that are just watching, tune into the Lakers for LeBron or just because they're LA, that Mark Williams will surprise them with his rim protection ability. In terms of, it's just not that good. Like it's a negative surprise. I don't watch Hornets games enough to know how true that is. But I just feel like a guy with, I think he has the longest wingspan in the league, or the longest standing reach, which is pretty much the same thing, right? I mean, that's kind of dumb. I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. A guy of his height and his stature, just I feel like he can be a good rim protector. Maybe he was purposely not playing defense in Charlotte because of how bad the team was, but I would assume that he'll step that part of his game up. Overall, it's just a good move for LA. I don't see any negative to it other than the injury risk, but I mean, it gives them a chance to go for it. I don't know if I would consider them contenders, but who knows with LeBron and Luca and a decent surrounding cast. The issue for them might still be defense because the starting lineup isn't great defensively, but who knows at the end of the day. Uh, Still, good team. Moving forward, the Hawks and the Cavs made a surprise trade. Well, it's not necessarily the biggest surprise because there were rumors that the Cavs were going for this player and they got him. So DeAndre Hunter's on the Cavs now. The Cavs gave up Karis LeVert, George Niang, and 3 second-round picks and two swaps. So here the Cavs get a great player, a guy that can shoot the three ball. His 3 point shot has been reliable for the past couple of years now. Positional defender, guarding wings. He's strong. He has the size. He has the wingspan. He's tall enough to be able to guard even potentially fours in certain situations, but he'll most likely just be on threes and even twos. He can guard well. Without a doubt, he can guard. I like to emphasize that point because it's an upgrade from Karis LeVert, because Karis LeVert is not a great defender. Obviously, Karis LeVert was having a good year shooting the ball. They gave up George Niang, who's not much to talk about. He's a decent player, but they're not giving up anything here uh, that you really would regret giving up. I'm surprised that the Hawks weren't able to get a first round pick. Maybe the front office just isn't good at negotiating here, but I feel like getting a guy as good as DeAndre Hunter has been this year without giving up a first round pick is a great move. They now have more picks to give up in the future. I would assume they still have some first round picks left over, and they didn't really have to do anything here of much substance, honestly. They essentially just upgraded a guy for another guy that is just better at every aspect of basketball, essentially. And then moving on to the Clippers. The Clippers were a team that a lot of people were questioning, if they're going to make any significant moves because the bench hadn't been very good since really the beginning of the season. They had guys that were good defenders on the bench, um, but nobody really was shot creating for them. No one was really good of a shooter. And so they give up Terrence Mann and Bones Highland to the Hawks for Bojan Bogdanovic and 3 second-round picks. I like this because, in theory, Boyan Bogdanovic is a good shooter, a guy that's been able to be a good shot creator for the majority of his career. But the thing with this trade is that, in theory, it's good, but Boyan Bogdanovic has been pretty bad this year. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure if he was playing disgruntled. Maybe he knew there was a trade on the horizon, but I don't think that's it. But they're not really risking anything here. Terrence Mann is a solid player, but he's nothing that you're really gonna miss. Bones Highland was completely out of the rotation, and a couple of picks is not gonna hurt them. They kind of have to go all in. Not even kind of. They have to go all in, considering they don't have really any picks in the future that are in their control. Kawhi is not going to get any younger, not any healthier. Harden's certainly not getting any younger. So this is it. They get a guy that can potentially give them a scoring punch off the bench, some shot creation off the bench, potentially some 3-point shooting off the bench. We'll have to see how this move ages, but it's a low risk move. They're not giving up anything that really makes you scratch your head, and I think it's a nice move for them. They won't regret this. I'm 95% sure they won't regret this move. And then another move, a move that surprised me, not because of who was traded, but where they were traded. Brandon Ingram is traded to the Toronto Raptors for Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, a first round pick, and a second round pick. I like this for the Raptors because although the fit may be questionable, and we'll touch upon that in a second, uh, when you get a guy of Brandon Ingram's talent, a guy that's been an All Star, a guy that can play at a star level, albeit he has health concerns. You didn't give up anything that really will hurt you in the future. Bruce Brown was on an expiring deal. Kelly Olynyk is a solid player, but nothing you'll miss. A first round pick for a guy that can play at our All Star level is reasonable, and he sort of fits the timeline. He's not a young guy, but he's not an old guy. He's really in that prime years of his career. I believe he's 27, 28, maybe 26. I'm pretty sure 27. He's a guy that he comes in and he gives you a scoring punch immediately. Obviously, there's the health concern. Brandon Ingram has not always been the healthiest guy. But I mean, you do it. Masai Ujiri has always been known as a guy making the decisions out there in Toronto that buys low, and you buy low on Brandon Ingram. His value is pretty low because of the injury concern. It's also low because everyone knew that he was leaving the Pelicans because the Pelicans are not extending him. He's going to be out of there. He's considered a free agent this offseason, but I'm pretty sure the Raptors wouldn't make this trade if they didn't feel like Brandon Ingram was going to resign. Maybe they talked to Brandon Ingram already and he's willing to resign. Not exactly sure, but hey, it's a good move because it's a low risk, high reward move. In theory, if he resigns and if it doesn't work out in the future, I guess they could flip him. He's a good player. He's a star level talent. If he is healthy in the future, they can just, if it doesn't work out in a few years, they can just flip him. Get probably equal value, or maybe even more if he is able to be healthier in the future and plays himself into higher value, similar to what Zach LaVine did. Played himself into being tradable with his contract that he had, because people didn't want to trade for him for the contract, but still, you can improve your value when you're a player of this level, where you're a borderline all star, been an all star before. So I like it. And then there's one more move I want to talk about, plus some news that's interesting, but a move that will go under the radar for a lot of people. Maybe a lot of people don't really care, but the Pistons getting Dennis Schroeder. Uh, Essentially didn't give up anything. I don't even see any details of what they're giving up. I think it was just part of that big trade. Dennis Schroeder instantly comes in, provides them offense, shot creation to a degree in terms of what kind of offense he's giving. He's a good playmaker. He's a solid defender. He essentially replaces a lot of what Jaden Ivey was doing for them, not to the same degree, but it's pretty close to what you can get for now. He relieves a lot of ball handling pressure off of Cade Cunningham, because Cade, since Jaden Ivey's injury, has just been turning the ball over a lot. Even before that, earlier in the season, he was turning it over a lot, but he was turning it over more. It gives Cade a chance to take some possessions off in terms of just having to, play make for everybody on the Pistons on the court for some possessions. He's getting a chance to have another guy that can score next to him, And when Jaden Ivey hopefully comes back before the end of this year, because I did see news reports that the Pistons are hopeful that Jaden Ivey will be back before the playoffs. Because I'm like 95% sure the Pistons are going to make the playoffs. But yeah, when Jaden Ivey hopefully comes back, he can slide right to the bench and be that guy off the bench that can score for them, that can handle the ball, that can play make for them, and just defend well. He's a solid defender, as I said, and he gives them a good reliable option, similar to what they have in Tobias Harris, just a veteran that can still play at a good level and really just give them what they need. So there's no downside to this move for Detroit, and yeah, that's all I really got in terms of trade news. But there is one more thing I want to talk about because it poses a couple of questions. So Shams Charania reported a couple of hours ago that the Timberwolves were interested in Kevin Durant and that they actually pursued KD last minute during yesterday's deadline. And for me, it poses the question. Well, the first question: who was in that trade package? It might have been Julius Randle. I'd assume I would pretty sure it is because of the money. I believe KD makes around 51 million a year, and Julius makes a substantial amount of money. I like Julius Randle. He's a great player, in my opinion. I know a lot of Knicks fans don't like him. I know a lot of Timberwolves fans currently don't like him, but uh, Julius is a guy that I respect. I think he's a good player. He's overhated, underappreciated guy for what he's done. Obviously, he's had the playoff things, but a lot of that is considered due to injury. But that's completely different. Uh, the fit out there in Minnesota for Julius Randle it just doesn't work. And I think KD probably wants out of Phoenix maybe this offseason, and maybe there's a sign and trade in the offseason. Maybe he can get signed and traded to the Timberwolves for whatever package. If they were trying to do it now and it fell through, maybe in the offseason they can try to renegotiate that package. But I'm pretty sure Kevin Durant is gone. I'm pretty sure he's going to get the hell out of Phoenix. That's the kind of guy KD is. When something doesn't work out, he's out of there. Uh, I know that may sound kind of negative. I don't like Kevin Durant much as a player, so maybe that's bias coming from me. But yeah, it also poses the question: what is the direction for the Timberwolves? What is the direction in the future? And it's a very interesting news report. There's definitely a reason that the Timberwolves were pursuing KD as it relates to Julius. I'm pretty sure they want him out of there. And I'm pretty sure the Suns are going to blow it up at some point. So this is all just interesting. I just thought that was something I wanted to include into this video. I know it's getting a little long, and that's where I want to end it off. If you watched all the way here, if you're listening to this part of the video, I appreciate you for watching. Share the video if you can. Like the video, please. It helps. It'll get my video more into the algorithm. I'm not getting a lot of views now, but I still appreciate everyone who watches it. I don't really care about the views. That's not what it is. I just like this, and hopefully, maybe one day more people will watch this kind of video. And I appreciate that's all I got for now. I'm out.